bet your asses we're feeling good as hell. It's Tuesday night, you guys. Tuesday. Welcome to Hard Headed Comedy Presents Still Standing Monologues. I am your host for this Tuesday, Luz Michelle. Full house, you guys. Full house. Tipsy Tuesday. I love that. I love that little saying. It's adorable. Tipsy Tuesday. I live for Tipsy Tuesday now. My God. I went from living for my Fridays and my Saturdays to then my Thursdays and Saturdays to now my Tuesdays. It is Tuesday. And we are going to laugh tonight. We're going to let go. We're going to put the news on pause. And we're going to have fun. Yes, fun. Fun. You know, it's 2020, you guys. This is some fucking year, okay? If there's one thing I've learned this year, I have learned how to scream every day. Every day I get a scream. Whether I'm watching the news, whether I'm reading the news, whether it's something that's just popping off because that's how 2020 is. Every week it's something shaking shit up. It's a lot, you guys. It's a lot. Holy shit. I mean, it feels like free therapy because you could completely fucking lose your shit on somebody and it's kind of socially fucking acceptable. It is. Give it a try. You'll feel really fucking good about it. My God. I'm at the point where I'm even having space with my therapist. You know what? We are. Sometimes people need space. We're taking space because it wasn't making sense to me as the sessions were going on during the pandemic because it's like, what's freaking me out and giving me more anxiety and making me mentally spiral out is the same thing that you're going through, right? Doesn't make sense. We can't both be having our worlds falling apart, okay? No. Someone has to have their shit together. And I'm the one paying. Yeah. Yeah. You can't tell me it's going to be okay, and I walk away from that session feeling confident. You know, that's not going to happen. I have more anxiety leaving than I did coming in. Way more. But therapy's some shit. I read an article the other day. It's up by like somewhere in the 80s. I think it was low at like 81%, something like that. Like people are doing therapy sessions. They're doing outdoor therapy sessions. They're meditating. They're doing whatever they can to like mentally survive. And it's interesting because when I read what some people are doing, I'm just like, did that for a while too, did that. I can't, it's the amount of stuff I have done in my life, starting at like, I don't know, 15, 16, getting curious, like whether it was one-on-one therapy with someone, whether it was meditating. There was a time in my life I was going on spiritual retreats every weekend. Every weekend, I was at one. Whether it was to get your inner self, whether it was to scream in the middle of nowhere, women's retreats, it didn't matter. I did it. I did a silent retreat, though. Those take some training. I went with an ex of mine. So what they want you to do is to communicate with your eyes. Like if you have a question, ask with your eyes. If you want to share something, use your eyes. And I was like, I don't understand. I feel like any expression I make with my eyes, it's going to come off very aggressive. Very aggressive. I only know how to be aggressive with my eyes. So I let it go. I did my best for 3 days. On the fourth fucking day, I completely lost my shit, but I kept respect. I didn't open my mouth, but we got into such a fight. We're in the middle of the lawn yelling at each other like this. Terrible. And we had quite the audience. You can't hold back. You got to let it out. 10 days of saying nothing. I did it every day. I've done a shitload of therapy. A shitload. You have to. You have to. But communicating with the eyes, I don't know. That really threw me off. It's something I never forgot. I never forgot it. I grew up in Staten Island. You know, it kind of molds you into being a certain person, even if you didn't want to be that person. Like, no matter where you go, if you grew up in Staten Island, it shows the people in the room know. You can't hide it. You can't hide it. Everyone knows. When you say Staten Island, I wasn't born there. I was born in Bogota, Colombia. I know. Can't say. So I'm half Colombian, half Native Indian, adopted by 2 Eastern European Jews. And I grew up in Staten Island, New York. Staten Island, New York. You might have had the second biggest dump in the world. We might have a stench in the summer. We used to have a stench in the summer, like the 80s, the 90s, when people would come home from college or even come home at work. Like, there was a certain time of day where the smell was so rancid and it was completely fucking normal. Like, it was acceptable. People just knew, what's that smell? Oh, it's the air. Like, what? That's not a conversation. That's a hazard. That is a huge hazard. And nobody fucking spoke about it. It's also known now as Heroin Island. You know, that's nice. That's a cute label to have. And you know what? In Staten Island, the women, they fight like the men. They do. They do. You could be watching a man and a woman having a fight. Let's say on Highland Boulevard in Staten Island. He's in her face. You better get your fucking shit together. I swear to fucking God. You're fucking out of here. And you know what she's doing? Nay. You get the fuck out of here, motherfucker. We come right back after. Right back after. Right back after. I know, it feels good. It gives you balls. Gives you balls. Well, growing up in Staten Island was wild. Even the fucking high school I went to. I went to a high school where students put acid in the teacher's coffee. We had days, like Not Gonna Happen Tuesday, where we would barricade the classroom so the teachers couldn't get in. And that was it. That's what we were doing. It was nuts. It was nuts. There was fights every day. People got arrested. I mean, it was off the hook. It was off the hook. It was a private school on the island. It was, because my father refused to put me into GED. So someone got wind of this place and he was like, that's where you're going. Yeah. More shit happened than you could ever fucking imagine in like 3.5 years. More shit. But my fondest memory of this high school, and I'll always have this memory of Staten Island, is my mother had no idea what my school was about, what it was like, even what it looked like. She had no fucking idea. Till graduation day. She walks in, I see it all over her face. She's disappointed. Disappointed. This is where the money went. This is where she went. But I put a little bit more icing on the cake that day. And not only was she disappointed in what she saw, but man, was she disappointed when her daughter was walking down the aisle. Why? Because I decided to walk down the aisle with my mouth wired, limping to the point that you can't hide it because my knee was stretched up, because I decided 2 days before graduation, I'm going to get a DUI. My mother was livid. The whole thing. But that's just a Staten Island flashback. That's all it is, a Staten Island flashback. You get a lot of them. But yeah, therapy. I even had a stint that I did a life coach program. That was very interesting. That was very interesting. And I did the whole fucking thing. I did part 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know, I got from it what I got from it. You know, they have a slogan. If it's to be, it's up to me. You know what? At least I take that away from it. A lot of therapy. A lot. Self-help books, vision boards. I fucking love vision boards. If I could, I would have one in every single fucking room of the house. I love the shit out of them. But my favorite therapy, is couples therapy. It's my favorite, the top of my list. When I tell you fun, We haven't gone because it's, the pandemic, but when my husband and I would go to couples therapy, we would go. Every couple of months, we got to sharpen our tools and learn how to communicate. But we would meet there. He'd take the train, I'd drive, and we would go to the bar. Before every session, we'd stop, have a drink or two, and then make our way into that room. When I tell you, I highly recommend this, it's at the fucking top of the bar. You unleash. You are the only person in that room as far as you're concerned. It's just you, a white light, and a microphone. Kind of like this. And you let go. You let go. You don't care what you say. You don't give a shit how much it hurts. It is out there. And you both don't give a fuck. Oh, man, drinking. I sure do love it. I do. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. And I did my best to not believe the whole, once you go into your 40s, it's different. You'll see. That's all I would hear up until the big day of my husband. Oh, you're going to see. Once you turn 40, something just happens. It just happens. And I'm like, no, it's not. Not with me. It's not going to fucking happen. When I noticed it happen, it's when I drink. I've had a couple of incidents in these past couple of months and being in my 40s that I drank in the way I thought I could. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. One weekend, girlfriend calls us up. Why don't you guys come over, come for a little swim, yada, yada, yada. It's stifling hot outside. We go there, we're having fun, we're having a little thing, we're doing a picnic, we're doing a thing. Girlfriend asks me, you ever done whiskey races? I'm like, what? I'll play any game that begins with liquor. What? Sign me up. The game is, you both stand the edge of the pool, 1, 2, 3, go. So you jump into the water. Your main goal, your adrenaline's fucking pumping, is to get to the end as fast as you fucking can. So when you come up, your first fucking breath of air is you're throwing whiskey or vodka or tequila down your throat. You don't think it tastes like anything, so you'll keep doing them. I might have did 3 to 4 races. Oh my God. I fell asleep at like 6:45 at night, naked in the bed. I got 2 kids at home. I got 2 kids. Whiskey races is not for everybody. They are not for everybody. It did not bring out my best self. It did not. Oh, man. Yeah. But my favorite thing to do is my Mary Jane. Oh, I love her. I love her so much. And it's so different now, right? It's so different. If you want to get a pound, if you want to get rolled joint, if you want to get edibles, you can literally go on an app. You can go on an app. You can go on a website. You can get it delivered to your house. Fucking snap of a finger like nothing. Like nothing. There's times I sit there and I can't help but fucking reminisce because these kids have it so easy. They have it so easy. Back in the day, for me to, let's just say, get a dime bag, I would have to go to the local bodega, slip Muhammad a $10 bill, wait for him to beat the guy, and then I'd have to meet him in a dark alley behind this bodega. He'd roll up, crack open the window, throw out a bag, and drive away. I'd have to run over to that fucking bag as fast as I possibly could before I got fucking raped and kidnapped. But not before you got high, right? No, let me get that in. So as time went on, I would meet him. Word on the street was, this man had a foot fetish. So I was like, wait, what? What? The next time I saw him, I brought my friend. She took her shoe up. I took mine off. We played a little footsie. He threw out 2 bags. The next time I saw him, I brought more people. The next time I saw him, I brought more people. He would at times throw out 6 bags for free. By the end of that fucking summer, I had a full-blown fucking rocket system going on. Get him up there, ladies. Remember when we practiced? Get him up. I want to see him. I want you to fucking wiggle him. Get them up. Get them up. Holy shit, dispensaries? That's like fucking Disneyland. What? You walk in, it's just like, whoa. I remember my first one. We walk in, and I'm going to leave you guys with this. We walk in, the backdrop for the signage is pounds and pounds of marijuana with heat lamps to keep it alive. Some of us don't even have fucking health insurance that would do that for us. As you walk through the store, there's a part of edibles galore. In your tea, in your sugar, in your baking, in your fucking Doritos, everything. Lace joints. Marijuana broken into different things because they're all different type of strains and they all have their own iPads. Like, it blew my imagination away. And they have free samples fucking galore. Free samples everywhere. Everywhere. I'm from Staten Island. When it was time to check out, I took that fucking sample thing and I dumped it right in my bag and I walked out and I said, have a good day. Have a good day. All right, you guys. Tonight, yes, feels good. Hard-headed comedy is shaking things up. Yes, we are. And we are bringing back some of your favorite comedians. And they're going to have longer sets so you get to truly hang out with them. Because, you guys, remember, the comedy clubs are still closed. Still closed. But outdoor comedy is happening, and they're fucking badass. So get out there and support them. And tonight, I want you to give a huge, rounds of applause for this woman. Not only was she on Sirius XM, but she was on the SoloCom 2019 lineup. Yes, she was. Get your hands together for Miss Angela Cobb.
Oh. Wow, what's up, everybody? Oh my goodness. I love that this app is like, you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you. And then it like warns you that if you're not on yet, they're like, you're in the room. The host could like tag you in at any time. It's like, oh my God, what is this, high school basketball? Like, I'm good. Like, it's comedy. It's fun. It's relaxed. Everything's going to be fine, guys and gals. Oh, and them. Luz, oh my God, so much to talk about with Luz was talking about. So, okay, Luz is made a perfect example of why, like, I don't do a lot of substances. It's not because I'm like moral or afraid or anything like that. I'm just lazy. And like the amount of work, as she said, that it takes to do things that aren't like booze or just smoking cigarettes, it's like even pot is still a little bit of work day, you know? She's talking about, having to meet the guy at the car, and then she was choreographing a whole Rockettes routine. Like, she literally became a dance instructor, a driver's ed teacher, and like immigration at the bodega, all just to get pot. Like, she had 3 different jobs going on just to get marijuana. It was good, like, but I'm not that productive. Like, and swimming to get like a shot of tequila or whiskey. Like, I'm not going to swim if someone I love is drowning. I'm going to be like, am I get a life jacket so I can just like float over there? Like, I don't really want to, expend. I gotta swim. Plus, I'm 5'11", so like I'm used to being able to stand. Like if I can't touch the ground in water, I'm like, what's the point, really? Like if you're dumb enough to get in that deep, Oh my God. What else? Oh, and then so I feel like Staten Island. It was interesting about growing up in Staten Island. Well, one, I would, if I were you, I would just say I'm from Columbia. Like that's what I would say. Like you just, as far as I'm concerned, it's like where you're born is like you get to claim that, Did you spend any time there? No, but like I'm totally still from there, But like we left Long Island, we left Lynbrook when I was 9, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm not from upstate New York, guys, like I'm from Long Island, I'm from Lynbrook. And then even with Long Island, I'll try to like dissect it. I'll be like, well, no. Like I'm from Nassau County, I'm from the South Shore, I'm from like the border of Queens, essentially, And by Queens, I mean like Rosedale, not like real Queens, but Queens nonetheless, But I feel like the teachers at your school would be those Staten Island teachers. I think that's who we need to hire to homeschool all these kids during the pandemic. That's what we need to do. We need to just outsource like public school teachers from just areas where everybody's just like misbehaving. So we need to outsource like public school teachers from Staten Island, from the Bronx, like just teachers who can get the job done, and they just show up at people's houses and like they'll whip the kids into shape, like 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? Like, what, you don't want to log into your virtual Zoom show and tell? Well, listen, you better do it. All right. I don't know. I give parents though, like with the pandemic, I don't know. Like, I can't imagine being a kid or a parent now during this, because it's just so much work, like the idea that now you have to suddenly like actually teach your kid and like make sure everything's all set up and like doing virtual stuff. And then the kids are like, if I were a kid, like, I don't even know like how I would take it seriously. I'd probably be like, look at what my teacher looks like after she first wakes up. All right. She can't tell me shit anymore. When I go back to school, she's going to be like, that's wrong. I'm going to be like, you have circles under your eyes. So 2 + 2, in fact, is 5. Thank you very much. Like, oh man, that's what I would have done. I don't think I'd be able to take it seriously. Like, I don't know. I just would have made it. It would have been like this. I would have totally become like, I think virtual school would have really made me into like the class clown that I wish I was in actual school, because like if it was just a bunch of Zoom squares, I could just see me being like, look, they're muted. Hey guys, let's mute the teacher. Like, I would just be doing all of that, It would be rough. But like, also I feel for the parents, because like, I don't care how many episodes of Boy Meets World you watched as a kid. Like, there's not enough Mr. Feeney quotes that's going to just suddenly make you qualified to be, an elementary school teacher. And I don't know about like anybody else here, but like for me, I have a very difficult time teaching someone that I have an intimate relationship with, and also like learning from someone I have an intimate relationship with, because the stakes are too high, like there's a reason why like you hire a teacher, and yeah, they care about the kids, but there's still a certain level of disconnect, But like, if you're the parent, if this is like your flesh and blood, or if you're, if you're from the kid's perspective, like, this is my mother, this is my father, this is whoever, and like you get it wrong, like you're going to get all pissed off. You're going to like throw shit. I could just see, you're like, listen, you can't get long division. You're going to get held back in 4th grade. And I'd be like, hey, this is a pandemic. 4th grade doesn't even exist anymore. Let's be real. I don't know. It's, I don't know. It's just a lot, like, I don't know. I think from what I can tell though, I don't know, if I were in elementary school during this, I think my mom would try to like get me to do everything and like, do all the work, because I've never been like out of school for like an extremely long period of time, because the mental health issues didn't start until I was an adult. So I've totally been out of work for a long amount of time, guys. But oh my God, I look so demented with that. But no, so like when I had pneumonia in 6th grade, or when I had chicken pox when I was 5 in kindergarten, I remember like we came back like after having like a week off, and the teachers were just impressed with my mother, like, oh, you actually had her do all the work. My mom's like, well, what the hell else is she gonna do? She's just sitting around, coughing, scratching. Let her do some arithmetic and some English and some stuff, So I don't know. I think it would have been okay. But it's a lot of stress. You know what I mean? I also think it depends what grade it is too. Because I think there's certain grades that are more pivotal than others. Like I feel like if you're in like 10th grade and the pandemic's happening, it's like, whatever, you know what I mean? Or if you're in like even, I don't know, if you're in like 5th grade, I feel like you don't give a fuck, you know what I mean? But I feel like there's like certain critical grades in elementary school and high school that you just like, you can't have it be fucked up, you know what I mean? Like, you can't have kindergarten with the pandemic, you're just going to be like, you're not even going to think you ever went to school. You're just going to be like, all right, I'm home and this is cool. And I guess this is school, huh? Oh my God, it's so much more different. It's so much different. I really feel like an adult now. Holy shit, I'm 5 years old and I'm really striking out on my own, Or like senior year of high school. And I'm not even saying like, I don't give a fuck when everybody's complaining, oh, they can't go to prom, oh, they can't play sports. Like, forget all that crap, like, who cares? Get over it, whatever. But like, just in general though, like you're graduating and then you're going to college and or even just if you're graduating, it's like a new thing. And then to have like the pandemic going on, I don't know. I think it would be difficult for that as well. I don't know. I say all this to say that like, elementary school was hard. Like, I don't know if anybody else feels this way. Like, I'm just glad that I'm not like in school anymore. Like, like college, I could probably still do, because college, I don't know, it's just cool. They like do it right, I feel like, but elementary school, high school, maybe, but elementary school in particular, from what I've heard now, is just like ridiculous, you know? It's like, math isn't hard enough. Let's make it even harder. Let's do like some Common Core bullshit where you understand the concept of why this is the answer. And I'm sitting there like, the whole point of math is that we're not supposed to understand why. Like, this is math. This isn't English. This isn't history. There's no room for like depth and interpretation. It's just supposed to be rote. It's just supposed to be like 2 + 2 is 4. Don't ask why. Just memorize it. But now they're like, no, we have to get in touch with the feelings of the numbers and why and this. And I'm like, no, I couldn't do that. But also like, I graduated high school in 2005. So, and I don't know if like anybody went to school in New York, anybody, because all the audience who's here. But New York's weird. New York has what's called a Regents exam. And I mean, every state has like a state test and stuff. But New York really likes to, just make everybody have a nervous breakdown about it. And they're constantly changing things, and they're constantly, evolving what the standards are. So like when my parents went to high school, you didn't even need to get a Regents diploma. You could get what was called a local diploma, which I don't even understand what that means. Like, sounds like surgery, like if you get a Regents diploma, you're completely anesthetized. If you get a local diploma, just one little area of you passed, But by the time I graduated high school, like the Regents diploma was like the bare minimum that we had to get. And then we could get like, if we wanted to be all super overachiever, get like a Regents with distinctions or something, And so when I went to school, they changed it from math, from course 1 and course 2 to math A and math B. And math is just, I don't like math, as probably you could tell from what I've said. Like I still remember like in 4th grade, I remember trying to learn long division. And I remember like we got past the unit, and then like later on in the year, they taught it to us again, because I guess we all just didn't know. And I was like, what the hell? I thought we were out of this already. I still remember like the picture in the textbook in 4th grade for long division. It was like some guy skiing off a cliff probably, because math was like, that's it, I'm done. Like, let me just go die in the Arctic right now because I'm done. So that's, but we had math A and math B. So I was in the first group to have to take the math A Regents. It was like new, So that was, I guess I actually have taken somebody's virginity, I guess. Maybe I've taken the math A Regents virginity, guys. And that's why they were like, nah, we want somebody else. But so the math A Regents I took, and I was all like nervous and flipping out or whatever. And of course I failed it, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to be in high school until I'm 60, and then it got ruled faulty. So like, those are the few times in my life where I'm like, oh, there is a God, there is somebody looking out for me, because it got ruled faulty. And then by the time we got back to school, they had already put a curve on it. And if you passed with the curve, you passed. And I got like a 70 with the curve. So I was like, woohoo. So, and then I didn't have to take any more math, or I did have to take a math class, but I didn't have to pass any Regents. So it was kind of just sitting there like, nah, who gives a shit? Like really, And anyone who's gone to school in New York will tell you, like, the difference between a teacher when they teach a Regents class, like a class where there's a Regents exam, versus when they teach a class where there's no Regents exam, it's like they're a whole different person. It's like when they have to teach the class with the Regents exam, they're like declawed, or they have their hands behind their back. They can only teach you what, like, the state is telling them to teach you. They're like, yeah, I would really like to talk about segregation more, but they're saying you have to learn more about Thomas Jefferson. It's like, And then once you got a class with them where there's no Regents, they're just like, fuck yeah, let's learn about Greek mythology and eat some feta cheese, guys. It's amazing. I'm like, whoa, where were you 2 years ago? It's good stuff, guys. Oh, so the other thing too, like I'm saying with schooling the kids at home, is like my mom was super nervous because my mom got held back in 4th grade, and she still wears it like some sort of like scarlet letter, like, oh my God, I got held back in 4th grade, Meanwhile, like nowadays, like if you didn't get held back, it was weird, like I remember when I went to school, I would go into every new grade thinking it's gonna be the year where I get held back. Like they can't possibly fall for my bullshit this year, And so my mom would be like, Angela, past a certain grade, I can't help you, like that's just, you're on your own, just like, and then she'd rope in my poor father because she'd be like, Bill, you're the one who's good at math. My dad, because he was a cabinet maker. So he'd be like, listen, like I'm good at like real life math. Okay. Like I can, like measure like the, you know, the length and the width and you know, other things. But he's like, I'm not solving for X. What's this crap? You know what I mean? You don't solve for X putting the countertop there, you know. So he suddenly was like the math genius though, and just had to like help with all that. So it was a group effort, a lot of collaboration, guys, a lot of like staying up till like midnight in fourth grade, being like, why the fuck you got to show your work? That's the other thing. Showing your work is like, parents would be like, just get the answer. You got the answer. Who cares how you got it? Like, that's what math should be, you know? I don't know. I have a theory that I think, you know, everybody likes to say if they have some certain like agenda, you know, politically or otherwise, they like to be like, well, this is not what God would want. Like if they're religious, they'll be like, God hates this. God wouldn't want this. And people like, I don't know. I personally think God doesn't hate gay people. God doesn't hate like divorce or trans people. God hates math. That's what God hates. God does not want math, you know? Like, think about it. Does God want to show his work? He's God. He's like, wasn't this enough for you? Look at this world you're in. Show my work. What do you think I am here? I use a graphing calculator. I don't show my work. See God using a graphing calculator. Oh boy. So I got bricks. I'm actually, this is a completely good segue. This is what's weird. Luz was talking about how 2020 is just such a bizarre, just a shit show of a year. And, I mean, we're going to have to get something else to call hindsight at this point, because like hindsight's over there being like, I'm not 2020. All right. Like, please, like, call me something else. But what's weird is I feel like I've traveled more this year than I have in like most years of my life. Like I'm doing it carefully, obviously, but it's just funny. Like I went years without like ever like flying in a plane. Like I flew like I flew once as a younger kid, and then like once after college, and then I went for a long time without ever like flying. And now this year, like I'll probably fly like 4 times, you know, and it's like COVID, and I'm like, yeah, I got my mask on, social distance, first class tickets, or is it first class? I don't even know, business class. I say it like it's the Titanic, you know, like, cause you know, normally you're in steerage on an airplane. You're like under the airplane, you know? But like first, you know, rich people, the parents in Home Alone, their seats are like cheaper now. So like I actually have leg room, you know, cause I'm 5'11", like I said earlier. So I feel like any sort of travel is always very discriminatory. It's like, yeah, nah, you don't need to be comfortable. It's like, listen, you know. But anyway, yeah. So like I've traveled more. So I'm currently in New Orleans, and there's bricks in the place we're staying. So I was like, I need to use this right now as my background for this comedy. I don't have a microphone though, so I'm in like, this is why I'm kind of all over the place. I'm in my like slam poetry mode. Like if I don't have a microphone to hold, I just get into this sort of, you know, very like rhythmic sort of, you know, liturgical movement kind of a thing, where it's just like, listen, the Mathé Regents, and, you know, I almost failed, and then I passed, and there was a curve, and hey, you know, it's like that. And Luz is like, wow, Angela's really white. I'm like, yeah, I'm like every Italian. Like, I don't think I'm white, but I'm totally white. You know what I mean? Like I was raised, like I was raised, that's the thing, like I don't understand, like I didn't know until I started doing comedy that like Italians are stereotypically known for being racist, because like that just wasn't, like I had the opposite experience growing up, you know? Like my mom would be like, listen, Angela, we're not Italians, we're not white, we're strong African swimmers. Because like, look at a map, geography people, you know? It's like, so I can't imagine, like, especially when Southern Italians are racist, it's like, have you seen where you live right now? Like, what are you doing here? You know, it's like, you think, you know, white people, they don't like us, you know, like, it's just, you know, but my dad, so my mom is 100% Italian, and my dad was like Irish in denial, you know? So basically, like my last name's Cobb, which could be anything really. So basically I'm like very Italian, and then some sort of like English Isles crap, you know? So of course, like you never get the features of the ethnicities that you want, you know? I feel like typing back, I can't multitask. You never get like the features of an ethnicity that you want, right? So it's like, for years, I'd just go out in the sun with like no sun, you know, no like sunscreen, whatever. Cause I'd be like, I'm Italian. Like I don't burn, I tan. Or even when I burn, I tan after, it's cool. And then I'm like, now like for the past couple of years, I've just had to accept it. Like every time I go out in the sun, I'm like, yeah, I'm translucent, like my dad's side of the family when it comes to the sun. So, but I still am like, I don't know. I'm still a bit like, I don't want to put all this crap on, I'll just let it see. I still got a tan line. Oh my God, you can actually see it too. I still got a tan line from the summer, but apparently I tan in weird ways because this part of my arm won't tan, but yet the top a little bit will. So I don't know, this little space here is like the purgatory of melanin. It's just like, listen, nobody goes in here. This is like trench warfare, okay? Like you got to get a tan there, and then here you just, just white. That's it. So yeah. I am 5'11" and Italian. So as I've said before, do you have any idea the endeavor that shaving is for me? It's just, I can't do it. It's, and like, not to brag or to brag or whatever, like I have nice legs, but I also like then have to pick and choose, like, do I want to actually put the work in to like display my gams? Or could I like maybe sleep in for 5 more hours? Because, that's probably how long it'll take, Luz was talking about mental health and therapy and stuff. I don't know how you feel about this, but with the therapist, doing like phone sessions or virtual sessions or whatever, like I haven't had to do virtual sessions. I've just been doing phone sessions since like March. And the one good thing about phone sessions is that you could literally be talking to your therapist while you're like drinking glass after glass of wine. Like that's cool. Much like you said, you should always go to couples therapy a little buzzed. I feel like I've never been to couples therapy, but I think that you might be onto something there. If anything, I think they should like have a bartender at couples therapy. Like that should be its own thing. It'll be like, you don't listen to me and you don't communicate. And the guy would be like, would you like a martini? I think that would probably, I think more guys would go to couples therapy if they were like, this is just like a tailgating thing, you just get to sit here, crack open a few beers, and maybe after 3, we're going to have to talk about our feelings. But, it could be worse, right? We could have to talk about our feelings without beer. So, you got to pick and choose. I don't know. I think my dad would have totally gone to couples therapy if he were able to have a few beers. He'd be like, hey, Ann and I talk pretty good anyway, but give us a few drinks and, we'll be in good shape. But phone therapy, I don't really like. Like, it's like my attendance with therapy isn't always the best anyway. Like, I feel like I've totally, like I don't always go as often as I should, and I cancel at last minute. And, all the things that make therapy this weird, like catch-22, because you'll be like, I go to therapy because I'm depressed, but then they expect you to actually go. It's like, don't you know I'm depressed? Didn't we talk about this? That like, I'm lazy and want to sleep, like, so, but I feel like when you don't even have to get out of the house, it's like even easier to cancel because it's just kind of like, hey, just don't call me at 7 today. But I just find it hard. I find it hard, phone therapy, because I feel like phone therapy is the equivalent of like when you're a kid and you got to talk to a relative that it's not that you don't like them, but you just don't talk to them that much. So you like get awkward on the phone and you don't really know what to say. And you just feel like you got to constantly have like material and you have to like, there's like dead air and stuff. So that's how I feel with my therapist. It's like in high school, if you're trying to date somebody and you're like, maybe we should talk on the phone. And then you like, don't say anything, that's so. But then, of course, like with anything else, much like with this set, which I'm going to like wrap up in a little bit, takes me a little while to get going. And then once I do, I'm like, okay, like we have to end now. That's pretty much everything in my life, is that it takes me a long time to get motivated to do something. But then once I'm doing it, I'm like, well, don't distract me. Like I'm doing this right now. This is what I'm doing. Let's see what else. One thing I am worried about after like the pandemic is kind of over and we more go back to even like more normalcy is anybody else loud like me and worried that people are just going to be able to mute you in real life? Because that's something I'm genuinely worried about. Like I'm worried that like muters are going to be a thing. Like they're going to be like this secret government agency that's like, sort of like, I don't know, like plainclothes police people or like the CIA or something, and you don't know when they're coming, and they just have all your information, and they know when you're apt to interrupt somebody or be too loud or not use your indoor voice, and they just show up and they're like, and you're just muted and you can't talk. Or if you can, nobody can hear you, and then it's like, well, it's like, I think also though, if you're someone like me, as long as you can hear yourself talk, might not actually be that bad. Be like, listen, as long as I can hear myself, I'm pretty brilliant. So, I want to hear myself talk. Luz was talking about meditation and stuff too. Oh, and retreats. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was great. And the life coach and stuff. I don't know. I've tried some things, but I'm open to stuff, but I'm also lazy. So I'll be like, hey, there's this like life coach thing. And I think you said there's like 3 levels or something. I'd be like, oh, I can't just I don't just show up and get a certificate and I'm done. That's what I like. I like the kind of thing where you maybe like waste the whole day. You take like 8 hours, you just sit around and listen to somebody lecture you, and then you get a certificate that you like completed it. You get like a participation certificate. Works out well. I don't know. The other thing I realized, speaking of participation trophies, so everybody always makes fun of like millennials, and now like even, people younger than millennials, because I'm a millennial, and like, I feel like it's always going to be millennial though. Like even in another like 30 years when it's like generation Roman numeral or something, because they don't even have XYZ. They don't even know what to call it anymore. They're still going to be like those millennials. And somebody's going to have to be like, you realize the millennial is like buried over there, right? Like the millennials were like 80 years ago, like they're still being cheap in their grave. They're still being lazy. They're still being freelancers and bumming off their parents and not paying their student loans, and then our hand just reaches up like the Undertaker in wrestling, like, fuck you, But no, like the quote unquote lazy millennial has been around forever. Like I realized throughout history, 2 of the perfect examples of the like original lazy millennials, Christopher Columbus and Hitler. Those are the 2. Because Christopher Columbus, if you read about him or hear about it, like this dude, everybody thought he was shit. Like it's not just recently that, like even back in the day, they were like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. This guy's wrong. This guy doesn't even know what the earth looks like. And he would just constantly go to like the king and queen of Spain. Like, can you give me a little more money? I promise it's actually a good idea. The natives really want us there. Invest. And they just keep giving him money. He just kept bumming off them. So he never had to grow up and be responsible. And then Hitler's similar. Like Hitler couldn't paint for shit and yet thought he should just be, some famous artist. So this is, just, things to think about. But mental health, I'm going to like wrap up on this. Mental health, I think is important. Well, obviously, but, I think like during the pandemic, it's been talked about a bit more or kind of brought to the forefront. And, I don't know, for someone like me, I always laugh when people are like, oh, 2020 is so shitty. Cause I'm like, listen, I was depressed and broke before it was fashionable. So I'm good. This is not anything new. But I've struggled with and still do with depression mainly. And I was talking to my mom about this recently, and I was like, Mom, have you ever been suicidal? Without missing a beat, my mom just goes, no, Angela, but I've been homicidal many times. I was like, wow, my mom's such a giver. But I was hospitalized for depression in 2017. Remember when we thought 2017 was the worst year ever, guys? That was fun. Here's what I think. I think that if you've been in a mental hospital that is part of a university, you should by default become an alumni of that university. Like, I think that's what it should be. Like, I have an undergraduate degree from SUNY Oneonta, and that's fine. But I think I should totally be able to rock an NYU hoodie and be like, yeah, I went here. Some guy starts talking to me in a bar. He'll be like, oh, NYU, Tisch School of the Arts. I'll just be like, no, Langone, Psych Ward, class of 17. Nice to meet you. I think I should be put on all the alumni reunion email lists. I think that should be a thing. I show up at the reunion. They're like, funny, we don't remember you going to school with us. I'm like, oh, that's because I only exist in your mind. I don't know. I'm kind of psych ward chic, like I actually did okay in the psych ward because I'm pretty low maintenance. But it was weird. Like there were people who showered, who shaved, who got dressed. I was like, why? The best was women. Like it's one thing if you're a guy, all right? Like you had to maybe shave or whatever, and somebody just had to watch you. Like it wasn't that big a deal. But for women, if you want to shave your legs, like some nurses had to like come in and like, supervise you so you didn't do anything dangerous. And I'm sitting there thinking like, listen, like I have health first Medicaid insurance. They ain't going to cover the amount of time the extra time is going to take to shave my legs in the psych ward. You know what I mean? They're going to be like, listen, you just lost 2 days of group therapy if you want to shave your legs. Okay, we're not paying for this crap. So let's see. All right, I'm gonna do one more thing. So I have a boyfriend, which is very weird for me to say, because I was a virgin until I was 25. But he's from New England, so it all kind of evens out. But he's great. But New England, being from New York, like I don't really understand New England. New England kind of pisses me off a little bit. Like to me, New England is like in school when like a group project, where one person does all the work, but all the other 5 states still get credit for it. And usually the state is Massachusetts, but every once in a while, New Hampshire will start popping up like, hey, remember us? No sales tax, which I actually really like New Hampshire. New Hampshire has state-run liquor stores the size of a JCPenney. It's beautiful. But I think the difference between New York, I have to watch it. I do the Trump hand every once in a while. It's bad. I'm like, but I think the main thing that explains the difference between New England and New York is our clam chowders, right? Because New York, what do we call it, right? We don't call it New York clam chowder. We call it Manhattan clam chowder. Because fuck if the Bronx ever gets credit for anything. But what do they do in New England, right? They call it New England clam chowder, right? It's like, we all know Vermont didn't contribute shit to that, right? I once had somebody come up to me after a show doing that joke, and they were like, well, actually, that's where the oyster crackers come from, Vermont. I'm like, oh yeah, we really care where the breadcrumbs fucking come from. Like, who gives a shit about any of that, What I do like, I think, New England, even though they're kind of homogenized and I don't really feel like they have much of an identity, I think COVID has finally actually given them an identity. All the New England states are finally starting to get their own identity. And you know what that identity is? Hating Rhode Island. And you know what? I can get behind that. All right, guys, I'm Angela Cobb. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Take that in. What? Angela Cobb. What? Her and I back to back. If that wasn't fucking therapeutic for you, then I don't know what you're going to fucking need. I don't know what you're going to need. Oh my God. Her and I having a conversation, or her and I giving someone feedback about life would be fucking gold. Gold. It'd be a real supportive conversation. Like, she'd be like, listen to me. They'd be like, exactly, listen to her. We know what we're saying. Like, it'd be very, like, yeah. There's stuff there, Angela. There's stuff there. We can take over the world. You know what you did? You touched on a lot of things. I'll tell you. I'm the same way. First time I went to Mexico, right? First time I was like, I don't need to put any protection. I need no SPF. I'm Colombian and Native Indian. Nothing's going to happen. Day fucking 2, I had blisters on my shoulders. My blisters didn't exist. I had baby oil on me. Baby oil. Why? Take it in. Because I wanted to be fucking cute, okay? Not cute. Not cute. Calluses are not fucking cute on your shoulders. Blisters. Yeah, but then the skin roughed over and they were callous. It was terrible. It was a terrible fucking situation. And yes, we are survivors of 2020. What? No one's been through this. No one. Okay? Okay? Remember that. It's October. Okay? We have less than 3 months. We just gotta get the fuck out of here. Yeah. It's like those track room games. Like, we just gotta get out. And we'll be okay. Just gotta get out. And you know what, Angela? I'm going to tell my kids the same shit. I lost my virginity at 25. Exactly, 25. That's a brilliant, I love it. I love it. Exactly. That's all they're going to fucking know. That's all they're going to know. That's all I gotta know. You need to know nothing else. 25. Listen to me. You focus on your academics. When you get to about 24, 25, that's when you focus on whoever you want to be with in a sexual way. 24, 25. I fucking love it. My husband and I, we wrote it down. We wrote it down. Written down. How old were you guys? 25. 25. All right, you guys. Ooh, tonight was a treat. Oh, it sure was. As a reminder, you guys, our Venmos are running at the bottom of the screen. Yes, they are. So if you felt it, if you felt alive, and you laughed and you let go, then give a little. Why? Because if there's another thing you learned in motherfucking 2020, the world could be falling apart, up in flames. The polar bears are dying. Everything that you never wanted to happen is happening. Guess what? The fucking water bill is still going to come. The heating bill is still going to come. The motherfucking cable bill that you're like, what the fuck are we getting for this much money? Bill is going to come. Not to be aggressive or anything. But give, because it goes a long way. God. It gives you brownie points and wings, the whole nine. You guys, I'm going to welcome Miss Angela Cobb back in one more time, and she's going to let you know how you can find her. Miss Angela Cobb, let them know.
Oh, all right. So you can follow me on Twitter at Angela Cobb, COBB, and on Facebook and Instagram at Angela Cobb Comedy. And as Lou said, our Venmos are going across the screen there. So at Angela-Cobb, if you want to throw me some love of the monetary variety. And yeah, thank you for having me. This was fun. Yeah, right.
Miss Angela Cobb.
Thanks.
You better give us some money. We're going to come motherfucking find you. All right, you guys, we're back next week. Yes, we are again at 9 p.m. Remember, donate, speak up, make a fucking difference. And follow us at Hard Headed Comedy Inc. on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. What? Stay safe, stay sane, stay motherfucking sanitized. Good night, you guys.